starting the event. Sorry, can you check the audio for me? Is this good? Check 1, 2. Check.
That's good.
Thank you again for everyone gathering today. Today we gathered not only as a witness to history, but as a participants in a story of resilience, resistance, and remembrance. A story that spans generations, continents, and cultures. We stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, those who endured unimaginable hardships, yet never wavered their pursuit of justice. In the heart of Tamil, a land once teeming with life and culture, the echoes of the past resonate with the cries of the present. For decades, Tamils have faced systematic oppressions and violence, a relentless assault on their identity, their land, and their very existence. From the moment the British left the island, Tamil voices were silenced, their rights denied, and their aspirations crushed under the weight of discrimination and persecution. The darkest chapter in this ongoing saga unfolded during the genocidal war from 2006 to 2009, a period marked by the unspeakable atrocities and unimaginable loss. But let us not be misled into believing that the horrors ended with the cessation of hostilities. No, the scars of war run really deep, and the wounds of the past continues to bleed into the present. Structural genocide with its insidious tactics of the land grabs, forced disappearances, and cultural erasure persist to this day. A grim reminder that the fight for justice is far from over. Yet in the face of adversity, the Tamil spirit remained unbroken, fueled by the fierce determination to reclaim what was stolen and to build future rooted in the dignity and equality. So as we gather here today, let us honor the resilience of Tamil people, let us stand in solidarity with those who continue to suffer, and let us reaffirm our commitment to the pursuit of justice. Together, we can turn the page on a new chapter, one defined not by the horrors of the past, but by the hope of the brighter future. Thank you for joining us today on this journey. And my name is Karthik Nandakumar. I'm actually representing the coalition that is working with TGTE to bring about this petition. And we will start this event with, I invite everybody to join me in a moment of silence, a profound reflection, a moment to honor the memory of those who perished, the courage of those who survived, and the resilience of those who continue to resist. In this silence, let us draw strength from the collective spirit of the Tamil people. Let us renew our commitment to justice, and let us envision a future where the echoes of the past are replaced by the promise of a better tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. You may sit down. Now, as we transition to the next chapter of our event, I'm honored to introduce our esteemed guest, Honorable Viswanathan Rudrakumaran, the Prime Minister of Transnational Government of Tamil, Honorable Chen, the Member of Canadian Parliament, and the coalition members. Each of these remarkable individuals bring with them a story of courage and compassion and commitment to justice. Right now, we will pass on the mic to our Honorable Prime Minister Viswanathan Muthukumaran to give his opening statement.
Mr. Moderator, Honorable Shaun Chen, you hear me, yeah? You can hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Brothers and sisters, holding the sacred memories of our Mahaveeras, our heroes who sacrificed their lives for the realization of the Tamils' inherent right to self-determination and justice yet to be obtained, I share my thoughts on this important event. We have gathered here today to launch the e-petition calling the House of Commons of Canada to refer Sri Lanka to the International Court of Justice. I congratulate Honorable Chen for spearheading this initiative. Mr. Chen needs no introduction. He has impeccable public record. I note we Tamils have friends like Mr. Honorable Chen in our struggle for justice and for freedom. In 2022, when the Canadian House of Commons passed a resolution, unanimously passed a resolution designating May 18 as a Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day. On that occasion, the Canadian Prime Minister, Mr. Trudeau, he said that the crime of genocide was committed against the Tamil people. In 2021, the Ontario legislature passed a unanimous resolution called establishing Tamil Genocide Education Week. In that resolution, stating inter alia, quote, it is important for many reasons to acknowledge publicly that the killing and all aspects of genocide constitutes a heinous act, end of quote. It's been 15 years since this heinous crime was committed. Thus far, not a single foot soldier, not a single army commander, not a single civil political leader has been brought to justice. And we cannot expect justice domestically. To start with, the crime of genocide is not even in the law books of Sri Lanka. In 2015, the then Human Rights Commissioner Al-Hussein urged Sri Lanka to include genocide as a crime in the law books. But that call fell on a deaf ear. Even arguing though the crime of genocide is included in the Sri Lankan Penal Code, we Tamils will never get justice. As former Human Rights High Commissioner Michelle Bachelet stated in her 2021 report, that impunity is entrenched in the Sri Lankan system. Not only that, the Sri Lankan system, all the state institutions are permeated with racism. That we Tamils will never get justice. The singular political culture will never allow justice for Tamils. So what we need, we have to get justice only through international mechanism. And the crimes committed by genocide was committed not just by one individual, not just by one foot soldier, or not just by one army commander, or not just by one Kotabaya. The crime itself was committed by the Sri Lankan state itself. Al-Hussein in his 2015 reports will state the crime was a systemic crime. So the state itself should be held accountable. And the only place, the only venue where we can hold state accountable is the International Court of Justice. And relatively, it is easy for a state to bring action before the ICJ than before the International Criminal Court or before the Human Rights Council. Because if you go to the international, if you want to take the matter to the International Criminal Court, but first I may say we cannot bring action against the Sri Lankan state itself in the ICC. We can only bring action for individuals. But for that, Sri Lanka is not a party to the Rome Statute. Only if Security Council refer the matter to the ICC, it can be, ICC prosecutor will have jurisdiction. And people will say, well, it will be vetoed by some country. So we leave that aside. So ICJ is a veto proof. ICJ is majority proof. So any country, any country which is a party to the Genocide Convention can bring action against Sri Lanka in the International Court of Justice. And in fact, if we take Canada, Canada has brought 2 actions before the ICJ. In June 2023, along with Netherlands, Canada brought action against Syria. In November 2023, Canada joined other, I think maybe around 35 states as a friend of the court and filed papers in support of Rohingya people before the ICJ. So these actions show the Canada's commitment for international justice. Today, we England Tamils, we consider Canada as our second home. So therefore, we believe Canada is the ideal country that can bring the legal action against Sri Lanka before the ICJ. But I also want to take this opportunity to address some of the concerns in the community regarding this petition. So the first concern that was brought to my attention that in this e-petition that the Tamils are referred as people, not as nation. Nation is a political terminology, whereas people is a legal terminology. If you look at any legal document, starting from UN Charter, the UN Charter talks about to develop friendly relations among nations based on respect of principle of equal rights and self-determination of people. The UN Charter is not talking about self-determination of nation, it's talking about self-determination of people. You go to the Civil and Political Rights Covenant. That's what it says. All people have the right to self-determination. It is not saying that all nations have the right to self-determination. It says all people have the right to self-determination. You can go to the Civil and Political Rights Covenant, Article 1. Again, it says all people have the right to self-determination. You look at the General Assembly Resolution 2625, which was passed in 1970 as a consensus resolution, that is considered. The General Assembly Resolution 2625, which is considered as a customary international law on self-determination, that talks about all people have the right to self-determination. They can freely decide their political future. So there is no, the term nation is a political term, whereas the name people is a legal term. But very importantly, if you look at the ISGA, the LTT in the ISGA repeatedly and consistently used the word people. We didn't use the word nation. You look at the first paragraph of the preamble of the ISGA, which says, consistent with the principles of rule of law, human rights, equality of all persons, and the right to self-determination of people. Then you go, I can read along the preamble, repeatedly and consistently, that it used the word people, not nation. The reason is because this is a legal document. And whenever we use the word people, we always put a capital P. Then distinguish between as a regular group of people, we use the word with a capital P. And that has been used in this document. So this document in any way diminish the Tamil nation, who we will never allow it. We will never allow anybody to diminish the Tamil nation who, by referring it as a minority or community. Politically, we are a nation. Legally, we are a people. There's no distinction. Okay, so that's the first concern. The second concern, I was told that this one has limited the Tamil genocide only 2006 to 2007. But if you look at the petition, it did not say that the genocide happened only in 2006 to 2009. It did not say. It says we need justice for the genocide happened from 2006 to 2009. But if you actually know, the genocide happened to Tamils, physical genocide. Physical genocide started in 1956, June 5th. 1956, June 5th, the Kalloya massacre, the first Tamil genocide is Kalloya massacre. 146 people, I think, men and women and children were slaughtered by the Sinhalese settlers in 1956. So our genocide started from 1956. But it will be very difficult now if we go and ask a state to bring legal action against Sri Lanka starting from 1956. It's very difficult. Because that's also, if you look at the international practice, take for example the South African case against Israel. Okay, South Africa has been a supporter, ardent supporter of the Palestinian from day one. Okay, so South Africa's legal action is starting only from November 2023. South Africa did not argue that the Palestinian people have been subject to genocide since Nakba in 1948. They did not argue that.
Recording in progress.
They said that they brought the legal action saying starting from November 2023. Look at the ICC warrant recently, the warrant issued against Netanyahu. Okay, the Palestinian Authority became party to the Rome Statute in 2015. When they filed the complaint, they asked the prosecutor to investigate and prosecute the Israeli authorities for crimes committed since 2022 since 2002 because ICC came into existence in 2002. So they asked the prosecutor to bring legal action against the Israeli starting from 2002, whatever happens in West Bank and Gaza. But what did the prosecutor did? When he issued the warrant last week or a couple of weeks ago, he only limited what happened since November 2023. He did not go starting from 2002. Why? Why? Because these are the period that got the international attention. So in our case, whatever the genocide happened between 2006 and 2009, that got the international attention. Relatively, it is easy to bring a legal action on that basis. But once we are there, then we can bring everything. We can bring starting from 1956. We can bring under the argument of establishing the mens rea, establishing the specific intent. To prove specific intent, we can bring all these things in our pleadings. So it does not exclude or preclude whatever happened before 2006 or whatever happening after 2009. So, but we put the petition is in this format. So there's nothing. It's not that we are saying that genocide happened against Chinese only from 2006 or 2009. That's not the impression I get from this petition. The third thing it's been said that the UN figures and the UN reports are conservative, and we should have included Reverend late Father Joseph's account. In fact, initially, we thought, we TGP thought, along with other organizations, we ourselves launched this e-petition campaign. So we prepared a lengthy document, a 4-page document, with a detailed preamble. In that, we thought, we put it, mindful of the report by the late Reverend Dr. Rayappu Joseph, Bishop of Menna, Section 2.3, which states, based on information from the Kacheri of Mullativ and premature of the population in Vani in early 2008, and the number of people who came to government control areas after that, 146,679 people seem to be unaccounted for. But in this petition, that Mr. Late Rajappu's submission to the LLRC was not included. Maybe we could have included, we can include, even though it's not too late. But the reason why the priority or preference was given to the UN document, because we all know the UN documents enjoy more credibility than documents generated by us. That's a fact, and we have to accept it. UN document, whether we like it or not, they enjoy more credibility. And where we are going to the ICJ. What is ICJ? ICJ is a part of UN. That UN Charter, I think Article 92 or 72 established the ICJ. We are going to a UN organ. So when we go to the UN organ, it's better we go with the UN generated documents. That's the only reason I think that the UN documents were cited here. But I would like to emphasize, to my knowledge, maybe people who are knowledgeable about Canadian parliamentary procedure or domestic politics can talk more about it. This is not the final document. This is not the document that's going to be the complaint before the ICJ. This document will go for many changes. The Canadian lawyers, the Canadian government lawyers we will make a lot of changes. Also, I am told that the next step will be a motion. This one becomes as a motion or a bill. In that case, then even Mr. Chen or even other members of parliament can talk about it, can mention about it, about for late Father Joseph, the report. So there is space for it. There is space for it. But I am told that because some are concerned, when this one becomes part of the Canadian official record, that's not good for us because it doesn't give the accurate picture. But when any member, even the sponsor of the motion or anyone, when he gives a flow speech on this petition, he can mention Father Ayapu's report also. Then it also will become part of this petition. As a legislative record, it will become part of this petition. So there is space for us to if whatever we want to add, we can do it. So rather than we just finding fault on this at this initial stage, moreover, we start to ask the people who come to help us to make changes, sometimes it might turn them off. But since there's space, we can do it. The proof is in the pudding. Okay? So let's all work together. We take this initiative and we ensure that this initiative ends up in the ICJ docket as Canada versus Sri Lanka. Canada versus Sri Lanka. That's what we want. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honourable Prime Minister Vishwanath Rudrakumaran, for the speech and the clarification in regards to the community's concerns. I'm pretty sure that everyone here, or most of you, may have some questions. We do have allocated time for question and answers, so please hold on to those questions until that time. Now, I'd like to actually have the privilege of introducing a champion of justice, a tireless advocate for the rights of the oppressed, and a true friend of the Tamil community, Honorable Shaun Chen, a member of Parliament. And Mr. Honorable Shaun Chen has been instrumental in championing the cause of justice for the Tamil people. And today he joins us to introduce a landmark initiative, the ICJ petition against Sri Lanka for the crimes of genocide. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Honorable Shaun Chen.
Thank you very much for that very warm welcome, Nandri. I want to begin by acknowledging that we are here on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishtabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. Toronto is also covered under Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. I would like to thank the Honorable TGTE Prime Minister Rudrakumaran, and of course the Transnational Government of Tamil Eelam, the Coalition, and Frontline Community Services for hosting today's event. It has been a long time since Moli Vaikal, and this year, as we all know, marked 15 years since the end of the Sri Lankan armed conflict in 2009. There has been an incredible amount of hurt, pain, suffering, and intergenerational trauma. And although it's been 15 years, that trauma continues to live on. And we must seize this moment as a community, not just as a Tamil community, but as a Canadian community, to stand together with our Tamil friends, neighbors, to denounce this big history. And in doing so, to call on justice and accountability from Sri Lanka. And that is why I am here, because the Tamil community has played such an important role. It was mentioned earlier that Tamils have found their second home in Canada. It is their home, period. This is the home for Tamil peoples, and is the home for so many people from all corners of the world who come to Canada to escape war, conflict, genocide. is a country of hopes and dreams. And I am so pleased to be able to stand together with the Tamil community in this quest for justice, for truth, for self-determination, for reconciliation. Because the values are incredibly aligned with what Canada stands for: peace, justice, truth, and accountability. It is so important that we continue to build on this story of the Tamil peoples. It is a story indeed of resilience, a story about resistance, and on May 18th every year, a story in which we remember those who have suffered and continue to suffer from Tamil genocide. The Parliament of Canada has recognized and continues to recognize the contributions of people of Tamil descent. It began with the recognition of Tamil Heritage Month, a motion that was moved by my colleague, the Honorable Gary Ananda Sangari, Member of Parliament for Scarborough Rouge Park. In May 15, 2019, I had the privilege of first moving the motion in the House of Commons that would eventually pass that June, calling for an international independent investigation into allegations of genocide against the Tamil people committed during the last phase of the Sri Lankan armed conflict in 2009. And of course, as was mentioned, our Prime Minister and the entire Parliament unanimously declared on May 18, 2022, Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day in Canada. It was the first parliament in the world to make such a declaration, and that motion, of course, was moved by my colleague, the Honorable Gary Ananda Sangari. Most recently, the community is aware that on January 10th, 2023, our Minister of Foreign Affairs announced that Canada would be imposing sanctions against 4 Sri Lankan state officials responsible for gross and systematic violations of human rights between 1983 and 2009. And today, I am very pleased to be here because TGTE, the coalition, has continued to strongly advocate that Canada take an important role on the international stage to call for accountability, to call for justice, to ensure that we move forward in doing what is right. And that is how this petition, Petition E4981, was born. I'm very pleased to announce that I am officially sponsoring this petition, and indeed it has been accepted and live on the official Parliament of Canada website since May 7th. This petition is calling on the House of Commons to take legal action before the International Court of Justice against Sri Lanka under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. And this is an important endeavor because Canada is home to the largest Tamil diaspora outside of Sri Lanka. It is an incredible voice, and we are all aware of this as proud Canadians, for justice, for human rights. And as you are aware, Canada has taken legal action in at least 2 other instances before the ICJ. This is an opportunity for the community, and not just the Tamil diaspora, but for all Canadians who are concerned about human rights and justice, to stand up and to make their voice heard, to say that never again means never again. The Tamil peoples have suffered so long and so much. They have escaped war and conflict. They have traveled to far places around the world, and I am so honored that we have such an incredible Tamil diaspora that continues to make an incredible difference in this country, that continues to contribute in ways to build this great nation that we all call home. And now is the time that we all stand united and send a strong message. As was mentioned, this is not a final document. This is a petition that is calling on the Canadian Parliament to take action, the details of which have yet to be determined. But it begins with the intention of having Canada take action. And that is why we are here, to initiate that first step so that there is greater awareness. Bill 104 passed in the provincial government in Ontario, and that called for Tamil Genocide Education Awareness Week. This is a process in which we are not only calling the government, but we're calling for Canadians to stand in solidarity, to be educated on this issue, so that we, together as Canadians, can call for justice, truth, and accountability for the Tamil peoples. So I will say, once again, I thank the TGTE, the coalition, for your incredible work, for standing up with the broad Tamil community together with a unified voice on this issue in recognition of Tamil genocide and in recognizing the need for accountability on the international stage at the ICJ. So with that, I will say once again, thank you for being here, and I encourage everyone to spread the word. We need to get a minimum of 500 signatures. I know that there will be far more than that. And I know that with the community and with all the concerned Canadians that are going to be a part of this petition, we can send a very strong message to Parliament that we want Canada to take action. We also want Canadians, all Canadians, to connect with their elected officials, with members of Parliament, with parliamentarians, to encourage them to support this endeavor, because this petition is indeed only the first step, and there is much more work that lies ahead, and it will only happen with the strong support of Canada's Tamil diaspora and all Canadians who ought to stand up and support this issue. So with that, I will say once again, thank you, and it is truly an honor and privilege to be here to work with the community and to stand together to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that remarkable speech, Honorable Chen, and being here today and taking the time to be with the community to inform and bring about this news about this ICJ petition, that everyone's responsibility now, it's in your hands to take it further, bring it to the community, to your neighbors, to your workplace, whoever's, everyone Canadian can fill this out. Doesn't have to stay within our community. Reach out to them, use them as a tool to educate them about our struggle and what we are going through, bring them as a part of our struggle and justice and a road to justice. So now we've been hearing from the community. There was a little bit of a struggle as to how to complete the petition to the fullest, to the whole. So we have a small video of recording of how that is supposed to be done to the end. So that will be played right now. Give me 1 second. Sorry. 1 second. Okay, so it seems like there's a bit of a difficulty getting the whole video played. We'll actually share this among the social media group and people who have attended here. Now, let's move on to the next keynote speaker. We have, as you see here, we have the representative of the Canadian Parliament, member of Parliament of Canada, Shaun, as well as the representative of the Prime Minister of Tamil people living, diaspora living across the world, the transnational government of Tamil. Now that we want to bring that third point of the importance of a person, an individual, a champion, Honorable Sivanyanam Sridharan, an MP. He is is the Member of Parliament for the Jaffna district, Sri Lanka, and leader of the Ilangai Tamil Katchi. Honorable Sridharan has been a tireless advocate for the rights of the Tamil people and a vocal critic of the injustice perpetrated against them.
முயற்சி வெற்றியடைய வேண்டும் என்பதை ஈழத்தமிழ் மக்களாகிய நாம் அவா வருடாவருட நாம் பரிசுமந்த மே மாதத்தின் 18ஆம் நாளில் தமிழ் ஜெனோசைட் ரிமெம்பரன்ஸ் டே என்று பிரகடனப்படுத்தி அத்தோடு இல்லாமல் இனப்படுகொலையாளிகளான ஸ்ரீலங்காவின் முன்னாள் ஜனாதிபதி மஹிந்த ராஜபக்சே, கோட்டபாய ராஜபக்சே மற்றும் ராணுவ அதிகாரிகள் சார்ஜென்ட் சுனில் ரத்நாயக், லெப்டினன்ட் கமாண்டர் சந்தன பிரசாத் கெட்டியாரன் போன்றோருக்கு பயணத்தடை விதித்து தமிழ் மக்களின் நீதி நோக்கிய பயணத்தை பலப்படுத்திய கனேடிய மத்திய அரசு ஸ்ரீலங்கா இனப்படுகொலை அரசினை விரைவில் சர்வதேச நீதிமன்றத்தின் குற்றவாளி கூண்டில் நிறுத்தும் என்று நாம் மிகவும் வினயமாக எதிர்பார்த்து கொண்டிருக்கிறோம் என்பதை இந்த இடத்தில் பதிவு செய்தது. உலக மட்டத்தில் ஈழத்தமிழ் மக்களின் நீதி நோக்கிய பயணத்தில் கனேடிய அரசின் செயற்பாடுகள் என்றுமே முன்மாதிரியாகவே வந்துள்ளது. கடமை கட்டமைக்கப்பட்ட இனப்படுகொலைக்கு உள்ளாகிவிடும் ஒரு தேசிய இனத்தில் பிரதிநிதியாகிய நாம் உலக அமைதியையும் சமாதானத்தையும் விரும்பும் அனைத்து நாடுகளை கனேடிய நாட்டின் காத்தடங்களை தொடர்ந்து தமிழ் மக்களுக்கான நீதியை விரைவுபடுத்த உழைக்குமாறு வேண்டியிருக்கிறேன். இனப்படுகொலை குற்றத்திற்காக ஸ்ரீலங்கா அரசுக்கு எதிராக சர்வதேச நீதிமன்றம் சட்ட நடவடிக்கை எடுக்க வேண்டும் என்று கனேடிய அரசை கோரும் மனுவான E49/71க்கு அனைத்து கனேடிய மக்களை ஆதரவு வழங்குமாறு வேண்டியிருக்கிறது. நன்றி.
Thank you. Because of the time difference, we had to get this pre-recorded, otherwise you would have attended in person. So now we are moving on to the Q&A session. Before we do that, I just wanted to quickly do a little translation as to the main points of the whole speech for the understanding of everyone. Honorable Sivanyanam Sridharan has mentioned that he appreciates Canada's leading role in everything about the road to justice for Tamil people, and he has specifically mentioned about the Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day, as well as making a travel ban, as well as the financial and other bans against the perpetrators of genocide, particularly between the time 2006 to 2009, Mahinda Rajapaksa, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, and other two admiral generals who were part of that the killing fields of Sri Lanka. And also he requests the entire international government to take the footprint of Canada and follow suit to the pursuit of justice for Tamil people. So, and that way he thanks Mr. Honorable Shaun Chen for his efforts to bring this forward, the petition to become an accessible way to get to where we need to reach. As Prime Minister of Transnational of Tamil said, ICJ, there should be a case where Canada versus Sri Lanka, and that's where we end. And now we can open the floor to the Q&A sessions, and I will be moderating it, of course, and PM will be able to answer all your questions. And so the questions should be directed to PM, and he will be taking on from now on. And if anyone has a question, you can put up your hand. I can bring the mic over to you. Okay. Yep. Please state your name and if you're part of any organization as well, and just direct the questions to PM. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Jayendan, and I am part of an organization and community member. And thank you very much, Shaun, showing solidarity, and you're always with us, with our community. And there are couple of the notes Mr. Rudrakumar he expressed. The number one is the difference between people and nation. So the nation, it clearly says United Nations, and our Pungutamil Declaration, our people's mandate, it clearly shows everyone should, the governments should accept Tamil national nation. So on the ICJ, when the South Africa, when they drafted against Israel, it clearly says Palestinian people, distinct national. And because the UN, they changed to the self-determination, and the people, because of the indigenous people, the UN took consider of the indigenous people, so also indigenous people, and they mentioned the people have the right to self-determination. So we are almost more than 2,500 years history. And even though Mr. Rudrakumar on his press release, he clearly said, we are the nation of Ilam Tamils on his press releases. That is on the EN press. So this is resolution is political. Then we are going to move to judicial. So when the resolution is going to be passed in the parliament, you can't put people, but you have to put distinct national.
Gentlemen, sorry, very sorry to interrupt. My apologies. Can you please state the questions, because we only have some time.
Let me talk, because today, you guys have almost 10 organizations part of this e-petition.
Correct.
So far, you guys got signature only 267.
Because we are officially launching it only today.
No, Karthik, I'm not talking to you. I'm conveying, it's not like a debate. We can have a debate in another time.
Wait. All I'm saying is, people want to answer this question.
Mr. Shaun, he needs to know that community is pushing back, because we are not going to ready to sign the genocide happened 2006 to 2009. And even though the Mr. Sridharan, he already said he is a representative of Tesi Inatin Pradinidhi of a nation. So we are demanding, or we are requesting everyone to change the petition to, and you have to include the nation part. The second one is, and even though Rudrakumar said the physical genocide started since 1958, so why can't you mention that one? And also the Bill 104, the preamble clearly says the genocide perpetrated between 1983 to 2009. The community, they raised the voices, and they said no, it should go from 1948. And Mr. Rudrakumar said that it is very hard to get the evidence for the genocide happened or mass murders happened in 1958. But we gathered the information. We have all the affidavits. We can get the witnesses.
When you say we, are you a community, or are you referring to any organization?
Community and the other works too. So we have those evidence. So we are requesting the panel or the coalition to include 3 important things. One is nation of Ilam Tamils. Second, the genocide that started from 1948. Third one, it has to be mentioned occupied Tamil. When the people are saying occupied Palestine. So this is our identity. We cannot give up any identity because of couple of 10 organizations standing here, and they cannot change any of the narrative or our identity.
Is there a question?
Have any? We are saying, because you guys collected only 267.
Right.
But give me a second. And when we applied for the petition, right? 1,800 signatures we got it from the community. So if the community supports you, you will get more than 1,000, 2,000 signatures easily. But if you guys don't listen to the community, or if you guys trying to change
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You're not asking any question here. You understand that, right? This is a Q&A session. If you have opinions, definitely PM is open. The office is open. You can write it.
I'm talking to the PM, and I'm like conveying my concerns to MP Shaun, and you are like hosting the event. Just like you can like stand aside. So we are talking.
No, I am actually moderating the event.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming here and doing this.
Okay,
Yes, it's a Q&A question, but when this was happening in the community asked for this. This was brought, well, no, it's okay. The community asked for this. Yes, it might seem like not a question. That's a comment that's coming from the community. So let him speak. And if Rutumar could speak beyond that, regards to that.
But again, what all I'm saying is, ask the question, he will give you the answer. But you guys haven't asked the question yet.
Don't say you guys, I just thought, let's not get into that.
No.
It was a simple thing, was Rutumar made statement, why people are saying this, people are doing this. He came in already trying to push something at us. We came here to have a discussion. He came in his statement saying, we want justice from 2006 to 2009. As a victim of that genocide, sitting there, hearing someone saying, we only want justice from 2006.
He did not say only. He did say only. Okay, I'm going to let PM speak for itself. Yeah. Listen, it's not between you and me. It's not. Yeah.
You started this. Shaun,
No.
I hope you understand.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You do it.
Yeah. Sure.
Biggest organization is NCCT. Nobody is represented. You can say it.
I don't hear any.
All right, so folks, I just want to share a couple of insights in terms of the petition process, because the petition, if you have a look at it, and it's live on the House of Commons website, ourcommons.ca, you can search for petition E4981. The petition is submitted by an individual. That's how the system works, right? A Canadian individual. And once it's submitted, it then needs to be sponsored by a member of parliament. And in this case, I'm sponsoring the petition. And I understand the concerns. I hear the concerns of community members. A lot of the text here in the petition that you will see online, it's a preamble. It's a preamble to what the petition is asking for. The petition, the text that is most important in the petition is what it is asking for, the action that it is requesting. And I want to be clear, what it is asking for is the following. We, the undersigned citizens and residents of Canada, call upon the House of Commons to take legal action before the International Court of Justice against Sri Lanka under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Period. That is the action that the petition is asking for. Yes, there will be more work to do. And yes, I can clearly see, and I'm thankful for the people who have spoken up today, because this is important. It is important to hear your views. That the preamble, I'm hearing, you would like it to say more. But I will say this, we must start somewhere. And if you can agree with the action, that is the most important part of the petition. If you can agree that Canada should take action, then I urge you to sign the petition, because that is the most important part. Now, I will say this, there is language in the preamble, as was referred to, and it says, we are appalled by the atrocity crimes, including war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide committed against the Elam Tamil peoples in Sri Lanka during the final stages of the armed conflict in 2006 to 2009. That does not prevent you Should this petition go through, should the government of Canada decide to take action, that does not prevent the community. In fact, the community is welcomed, every member of the community is welcomed to give feedback to the government on what they move forward with. This does not set in stone at all what the government is going to move forward should it decide to move forward with the case before the ICJ. But it's a preamble to a petition, right? And again, the action that is asked for, I hope we can agree on the action, okay? Thank you.
I appreciate your response, all right, and I understand it. And we, as Tamil community, appreciate the effort of you and your party. That's not the point.
I don't hear anything.
So the point here is, we want this petition to have what we're defining as the right information. Okay? Moving forward, as a community, again, we appreciate you, and you saw all the claps, that's great. But what we're saying is, my name is Amaraj Joseph. I want it to be Amaraj Joseph, not Amo, not Raj. So in this petition, if we're talking about genocide, we're talking about nation, we as a community is saying this is what we want in it. And you as a representative of my community, or Canadians, I'm a Canadian, we want you to make sure the right information is going. You're saying that this could be changed, this could be included. So why don't we just include it now? What's the problem with that? You understand what I mean? If this is going to be included, if this is going to be added, if this is an issue, and if this is a problem that has been brought up, why don't we just change it from the get-go? Why are we even having this discussion? Because we obviously, everybody's working together. You saw the claps. We appreciate this move from from you and your government. So we're not against this. I think people are out here trying to make it look like all these individuals. I'm a grown man. I'm not here to have a fight with anybody. I just want to make sure, if you could tell the Jews, okay, that, let's just talk about October 7, but let's not talk about everything else. Or you could tell the Palestinian people, let's talk about just this date, but not that date. Just because, let's get it in. Let me see your response to them. Let's see that community respond to you. Just because an article was posted on National Post, or one of these articles, a Jewish MP went after that editor. Okay, as a community, we're not going to, sit down here and see people just put something for the sake of doing it. All we're asking is, we appreciate it, but do it right, and we'll all support it. That's all we're saying. So I respectfully ask you. Thank you.
And I'd like PM would like to respond.
The thing is, the program is a political event. So in a political event, we use the political terminology. Whenever I write any press release or whenever I write any political declaration, I use the word nation. Tomorrow if I'm going to write a political declaration, I use the word nation. But this is a legal document. You have to understand the distinction. You have to understand, you have to think a little bit more on this subject. Now take the LKT. After Pondural, LKT prepared the ISGA. And LKT used the word people. But LKT diminished the term nation more. LKT doesn't know what it was doing. Because Pondural is a political event, they use the word nation. This is a legal document, you use the word people. You have to understand these things. I don't know how I can explain these things. These are fundamental. Whenever you find photo, whenever you start to talk about things, I think some basic understanding is very necessary to have a meaningful discussion or discourse. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, PM. Can you state your name?
Thank you so much. Should I stand? I'll stand. Hi, thank you so much to TTT, Shaun, MP Shaun Chen, and also Prime Minister Rudra Kumar and the organizers of the event. My name is Darshika Salvasivam. I'm a community member, and as a long-time community activist and human rights activist, I work within labor. And so recognizing that, there are some great comments that have been made on both sides, but I think that sorry, this is very emotional as well, so it's just, I'm trying to find the words to both pose a question and use the space, which has been organized and people have taken the time to be here, but also really take this time to build a bridge and convey some of the frustration, the intergenerational gap, the language gaps, and also the intent is to provide a space for conversation. But I think that the impact is that folks feel silenced. And I think that that silencing can really generate a space that, angers rise. And we're in a very politically tumultuous climate right now, right? We are seeing a genocide. And folks are feeling very disheartened and both inspired. And so it's almost like a paradox, right? Like it's almost this moment of a paradigm shift. And so when we're shifting, we also want to have the opportunity to be informed and educated. Karthik, is it? Yes, I appreciate the video that you folks were trying to put up. But I think what might be helpful is a bit more community education around a preamble sets the context for the action items and a petition and a motion. And then you have the action items. So oftentimes, like when we go to a general meeting or a democratic space where we're making these decisions, a preamble sets the context, but the actual action items in it is what government or any legislative body is able to move on. So I think that education needs to come across. So that would be my first ask to the TGTE in moving this forward, to be able to better support the folks from community who are bringing forward these causes. And then I think like the other part that I wanted to draw folks' attention to, and this question is for Prime Minister Rudra Kumar. Thank you so much for your time and explaining the difference between the political and the legal, right? And we recognize, like there's this common saying, apartheid was legal. Right, slavery was legal. The Jim Crow era in the American South was legal, right? But that we're not asking, legality is a matter of power, not justice. And what we're demanding, I think, as people, and what this petition provides an opportunity for, is to be able to bridge that relationship between, having these demands coming from Canada, who has already placed sanctions on the Canadian government, and then furthermore, allowing for a potential ICJ, International Criminal Justice application that can be brought forward in the same way that South Africa brought it forward. And I think that that bridging needs to happen. And so that's my first point around, like, yes, the political and legal are explicit, but they're also implicitly implied, right, by virtue of the realm of politics that we exist in. So I just want to clarify that. It's not a contentious question, but I think that there's opportunity here. The second part is there was this conversation around, when we're talking about, and this is just, recognizing that the petition it's a petition and folks want to be able to circulate it amongst community, and we want to be able to bring it forward, but the case and the actual claim is going to take a much stronger lobby. So if there are perhaps more clear demands based on the feedback that's come from community regarding a more structural era of genocide that states from, like, I think 1956, I'm not sure the exact date that you said the first massacre happened.
56.
Is it 56?
56, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah,
56
to June 5th, 1956, ongoing structural genocide, like that language to be more involved and included in there. That's the first ask. Are you open to that? Are you open to the language of nationhood being implied? And the reason is folks have already, I think, Jainath, is it? Jandan? Jandan, thank you, Jandan. Jandan mentioned something around like Palestinian self-determination and territory being used. People are inherently connected to a land, right? And so as a people, yes, we experience genocide individually, but this is about ensuring our political self-determination and that our nationhood is maintained, right? And that is really important because it's about ensuring that, we're not just talking about ongoing individual systemic change. The Sri Lankan government is orchestrating genocide on a land and a nation, right? And yes, we don't want to get lost in the semantics of it, but I think moving forward, it would just provide people with a lot more ease and confidence to have that language of nationhood being further solidified in the petition. And then I think the third point is, I think those are my two main points. I think there's just the bridging and then just the language being solidified. I'm not going to get into it. I mean, I've read the petition and I see how it's set up, but today was really much a learning, and those are my comments. So if you could respond to that. I know it's a long, ongoing conversation, and I also wanted to say that, like, TGTE is bringing forward this conversation, right? You're bringing it forward, you're doing the work, and that's appreciated because we don't see other folks bringing forward the petition, right? And I think that, but that being said, I think that, if I may provide some feedback for learning, right? The other conversation here is that, I as a young person have been a part of so many organizations growing up, and yet I choose to exist outside of the organizations as a woman who is a minority in this space, as a racialized person, as somebody who's been in labor and political organizing. And Shaun, I've known you since I was a high school youth growing up. I went to Pearson, I wasn't in your district, but it can be very alienating. So my only, the request here is to provide, oftentimes I'm not seen as somebody within institutional spaces, but provide that bridge for community. So I think the other part here is being willing and open and having space for community to come forward and for our younger generation to come forward, and not kind of, create a space where we can actually moderate this conversation and hear each other, right? So yeah, I hope my comments are heard.
Thank you. PM, would you like to respond to any things that she mentioned?
First of all, thank you for your.
Oh, I don't think.
Yeah, unfortunately, genocide convention, we can only.
Oh, PM, we can't hear you. Give me 1 second. Can you check to see if the mic is on?
The mic is on. It's on. Can you hear me now? I think something.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's good. Oh, I think we lost you again.
You hear me? Hello?
Yeah, can you increase the volume maybe?
I am okay here.
Yeah, perfect. We can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So unfortunately,
we lost you again. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
1 second. You want to go and come back or?
No, we can hear you on and off. That's the problem. Can you say something now? No, it's gone. Do you want to go back and come back? Can we do that?
Okay, then I'll go back and come back. Okay, thanks. Okay.
PM, can you say something?
Yeah. Vanakkam.
We can hear you, but not loud enough. Okay. Yeah. No, but then it would be.
Hear me now?
No, you get it.
Can you hear me?
Okay, it's back. Okay, we can hear you right now.
Can you hear me now?
No, something is wrong with the audio. It's probably here. Does she?
I can address via telephone if you are here.
Yeah.
Hello? Vanakkam. Hello?
Yeah, perfect, yeah.
Okay, Kirkara. Okay, thank you. Okay. No, unfortunately, the genocide convention stands now, we can only bring physical destruction or biological destruction. So even though the cultural destruction is an important thing, unfortunately, present according to the jurisprudence of genocide or case of genocide, we can only bring a biological destruction or a physical destruction. But there is an emerging trend in the international jurisprudence that we can bring the cultural genocide to prove the specific intent. So there is a case that one of the Yugoslavia tribunals, the dissenting judge said we can bring this one to prove genocide. So actually even there are some thoughts, because this genocide convention is kind of frozen. It was enacted in 1948, is kind of frozen. So there are some scholars argue that maybe we need time. We have to bring some changes to the genocide convention itself. Okay, so we leave that aside. But our thinking is once Canada files this paper, because we are we narrow the period to 2006 to 2009, because during that period the genocide intensified. It's the intensification of the genocide that got the attention of the international community. That's what we did. That's what the South Africa did with respect to Palestinian case. That's what the ICC prosecutor did with the war. Because those things intensify that atrocity. So we bring that one, but then once we are there, and then we bring the whole thing. Starting from 1956, we bring it, and the ongoing cultural structure of the also we can bring everything under the argument saying to prove the intent. So we are not focusing it. First, as Honorable Chen said, first we file something, we urge Canada to file the document. Have the docket sheet, Canada versus Sri Lanka. Then we'll bring all these things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thank you, Karthik. I hope you guys hear me. Shaun, really appreciate you coming. I'm Roy Vignaraja, actually still part of TGT's cabinet, but I'm not a member. I lost the elections, but till the new cabinet is formed, I'm part of the TGT's caretaker government, and I hope Prime Minister will agree with that. Now, I hear all your comments, and I do empathize with you. Shaun, I request you also to empathize with the community. Now, I have given you 4 sheets of emails, right? This morning there was a question asked from me as to why I contacted your office. In fact, I really forgot the fact I didn't contact, it's your office contacted me. The first email, on the 3rd of May, Erickson Miles has sent me an email asking me that TGT is submitting a petition, and if you can read it out, right? So he has sought my... TGT had its elections on the 5th, and I was running for elections, so I didn't even notice that. And on the 9th, I noticed it. Immediately, I sent him an email asking him to call me. He called me because between the 3rd and the 9th, there was a lot of ha-ho going in a public forum about the petition. I read out the petition, I read it, then I thought, yeah, these people, I mean, emotionally they are connected, they have something valid. So having said that, that's why I wanted Miles to talk to me. He called me, then I told him, Miles, something is going on like this. Can you ask MP Shaun whether something could be done about this? Then he himself did not have an answer. He contacted the relevant office in Parliament, right? You have that email there. And they have told what could be done, which is a simple fix, right? Now, you are at the driving seat. I appreciate your effort. You standing with us. You are at the driving seat with all the tools and equipment. All you have to do is just tell the initiator, the ladies, they are Kaushi. That's what the email says, right? If you agree, if you want this to go ahead seamlessly with a lot of signatures, as these young people demand, right? All you have to do is just incorporate what they are asking, because on a petition, the prayer is what we ask, but the preamble defines and justifies the prayers. Am I right? So according to them, the preamble here is not defining or justifying the prayer. I mean, out of the blues, I cannot come and tell or ask the government of Canada, oh, take Sri Lanka to ICJ, or take Sri Lanka to Timbuktu. Right? I have to give a reason which is valid or which is reasonably acceptable by the party from whom I am requesting to do something. Right? So the prayer is asking for the right thing. But according to them, or according to their view, the preamble is not justifying it. So all they want is the relevant verbatim to justify the preamble and resubmit it, and it is clearly, that email clearly says, from your office, from the Parliament office which handles petitions, to rewrite the email. Kaushi initiates it again as the original initiator, and 4 other people signing behind her, and once the 5 signatures are there, and when it is approved by the parliamentary clerk, This will be uploaded simultaneously, the other one will be removed, and she also has to give a request to remove the previous one. That's all that needs to be done. You are at the driving seat, you could do it. Right? And I hope you understand the feelings of the community, and if this could be done, as an elderly person, I think these people will do a great job. How she knows, she was involved with me in E-Petition 3161. I only gave 30 days time. I initiated it because the time frame we had was 30 days because we wanted the petition to be read in Parliament before the UNHRC sessions in March 2021. So we only gave 30 days. But this lady has given 90 days, which is more than enough to redo insert whatever they want and resubmit it. Then again, they'll have a fresh 60 or 90 or 45 days they're asking for. That is all clearly stated in black and white. That is why I brought the printouts. And I hope you and Prime Minister will agree on this and work with the community. But I'm trying to mitigate things here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sure. Yeah.
First of all, thank you very much, Roy. I want to be clear. I'm not in the driver's seat of this petition. I'm not. I want to be clear. I am not in the driver's seat of this petition. The community is. Okay? The community is. I will say to you what I have said to the coalition, and I will say it to everyone. I will support your petition that Canada take legal action before the ICJ under the Convention on Genocide against Sri Lanka. That is my commitment to the community. I will sponsor your petition. It is your petition. I know and I hear the frustration that there is concern around the preamble. I understand. And everybody means well in this conversation. I understand that because there has been so much trauma that the community has endured over generations. And you are seeking truth and justice. But I will say this, look for what unites the community. And what unites the community is clear to me is that you want Canada to take action. You want truth and justice. You want accountability for the Tamil people for what they have endured and gone through. And I will say that I leave it in the community's hands. I want to say that we have worked together I know there are many different organizations, and I know that there are also individual Tamils that are concerned about this issue. And I have worked together with so many of them. In 2019, when we moved that motion for an independent investigation into allegations on genocide, that came to light with many meetings and conversations with people from National Canadian Tamil Congress. There have been so many other groups that have come and worked on initiatives. And it's so important and it's so wonderful that there are so many advocates for the Tamil peoples. I think that is a great thing. And I will say to you, I am here to work together with you. I am here to sponsor your petition, and I will do that. And if that means looking at the process and looking at what's been put there, I leave that in your hands. I really do. And I want to share with you, yes, my office did share with you around the logistics. So when a petition is submitted in the system and it is sponsored by an MP, then it is there. It cannot be modified as the current petition. However, there is nothing that stops any Canadian individual from submitting a new petition. And should there be a new petition that is submitted, then you have a new petition. It starts at 0 in terms of signatories. It goes through the same process, must be sponsored by an MP, and then that person who submitted it, they can also withdraw any previous petition that they submitted. So that is the process, okay? What the community does, I am here to support your endeavor, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Shaun Chen, for that clarification. PM, would you like to add something to it?
No, I have nothing to add, sir, no.
PM, I think you're muted. Sure. Yes, perfect. Go ahead. PM.
No, I have nothing to add. No, thanks. I have nothing to add, Karthik, yeah.
Okay, thank you, PM. So there's another question. Give me 1 sec. He has put up his hand.
Thank you, Honorable Shaun Chen, and thank you, Prime Minister, for the clarification. It's less of a question and more of a comment. What clearly has come out today in today's discussion is the legal terminology that should be used for the petition versus the political terminology and the language. Thanks to you, Prime Minister Rudra Kumar, and Honorable Shaun Chen, you have explained the process that goes behind this petition and how it should be enacted, and all your effort and clarifying that you're not the driver's seat, rather the community. And as for the community people, there is a difference in opinion. There could be, they want a different language, and also that is quite understandable. This is a democratic process. But at the same hand, there are a lot of people within the community who are supporting the petition as it is today, as in it is in its current shape and form. They are satisfied with the petition and they are willing to support it. And hence, if there is a minimum vote of 500, we have already crossed the half mark. We are already past 250. So I just wanted to point that out in today's opportunity. And we are what? I'm not speaking to you. I'm addressing over there. You'll have your chance. So in this way, I am, in a way, in 3 weeks mark, we have achieved this, and it's a good one, and we thank you. Yeah.
And thank you again. Can you
The housekeeping rules, we are not talking. You are talking over there, and I am talking over there. All right? No problem. All right.
You're Karthik, right?
Yes, my name is Karthik Natarajan, and I'm a resident of your riding.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, everyone. There's another question, one last question. I think we have to wrap it up, but the time is up, so make sure you please go to the questions right now, okay? You can have this.
I want an honest answer.
You can hold.
I want an honest answer. Have you heard any time Canada taken any country for ICJ? And second thing is, according to the Canadian thing, Canada can't take it. Canada won't take it because they are heavy into human rights violation. You know very well.
Okay, so, sure. He was asking, does Canada has the ability, okay? Maybe you can rephrase it in a little bit louder.
Not ability. Have Canada taken any country to ICJ? He is going to raise, I know, Prime Minister, you tell the thing, I will tell you which country. Canada came second. First country is, Netherlands. Netherlands took the country and Canada followed it. The history of Canada, Canada has never taken any country to the ICJ. Because they can't take, because there is very strong human rights violation in Canada.
PM, would you like to respond?
No, just, I'm not, we are not here to talk about the human rights violations in Canada. I thought Canada as an outsider, I thought Canada is it's a liberal country that respects human rights. I honestly still believe that also. So I don't think that's a valid argument you can make, that since there are a lot of violations of human rights in Canada, Canada cannot take it. The thing is, then the second one regarding the Syrian case, the Canada is also, the Canada and Netherlands brought the case together. And then in December, I think November 2023, Canada filed papers on behalf in support of Rohingya along with other countries. There's nothing in the Genocide Convention, or there is nothing in the ICJ statute, there's nothing in the ratification of Canada that prevents Canada from taking this case to the ICJ. There's nothing there. If you say that Canada doesn't have a political will, That is a different argument. That's a different argument whether Canada doesn't have a political will to take it. That's what we are here. Through the people's support, we can change that position if that be the case. But I don't think so. So there's a good possibility, from my perspective, Canada can and will take this case. And one more thing, because I think, because when we talk about the people and the UN Charter, there was a comment made that they brought the UN, UN Charter, the people terminology because of indigenous people. In 1948, nobody in the Western countries didn't care of indigenous people at all. That was not in the radar. The indigenous people's rights came in, I think, the 80s and 90s. So when UN Charter was formulated, or when the covenants were formulated, nobody in the Western world talk about or even consider about the indigenous people. So that argument is patently wrong, that because of the indigenous people, the UN Charter immediately after the Second World War used the word people. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Dasna. Thank you, PM, for the response. If I may add, that Canada definitely has the political will to take this further. Otherwise, Honorable Minister won't be here to take this petition further. And he has given us the promise to take this further and see that to the end, where it's Canada versus Sri Lanka. So let's believe in that. Let's believe in that path that we have taken all together. This is not one man decisions, one person show. It was decided, the TGT, as a government of Tamil people, a transnational government of Tamil, they have reached out to pretty much all the community organizations that is established in Canada and across the world, and they are actually taking initiative across the globe through their networks to make their countries, their respective countries, to take action towards this matter. So at the end of the day, I strongly believe that TGT can take this direction across the globe and make an impact towards this matter. So let's believe in it. Let's be positive. We are all in this together. All we need is, at the end of the day, to see that Sri Lanka is put in the
investigation and punishment for crimes of genocide. So let's work together. Let's be positive, and we have reached almost halfway. Let's, as Honorable Member of Parliament said, this petition is just a beginning. We have so much to work on. Once the petition has reached the 500, he will be definitely taking this to the Parliament. He asked the House of Commons or the government to take this further. So at that point, TGT will be willing to, if I may add, to host a town hall where everybody's feedback will be taken. At that point, the Member of Parliament could come in, take the feedback. We could rationalize that statement or the mission or the motion or the bill, and then we can bring it further with everybody's approval. And as we know, we as a community, we have been enduring genocide for the past 70, 80 years, and this is not ending. And everyone has different level of traumas that they have experienced, and everybody wants their voice heard. And we can all agree to a common point where we need to see Sri Lanka in ICJ. Let's work together. We're all in this together. Let's put all our efforts together and then just get this moving forward. And thank you, Honorable Chen, for taking this further for us and bringing us together in this arena. And it's hard to find press conference where you have people talking. It's just, there's always the reading and then they just go home. But today we had such an engaging session. There's multiple viewpoints. There's so much input. This is what the community needs at the end of the day. So thank you for TGTE and Coalition for making this space available for people to come in, talk about it, keep this struggle alive, keep this forward. Let's make this forward, bring this forward, and make it happen. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shaun, for the time. Thank you.